Hello to everyone and welcome to our channel Global Perspective. Today we try to understand a dark truth or devastating story of division of India and Pakistan, which consequences and communal tensions that arose during the partitions continues to impact the region even a decade later. I wish you would watch this episode, history episode, start to end, my friends. The partition of India, the Pakistan, India and Pakistan in 1947 stands as one of the most harrowing and traumatic events in modern history, leaving behind a legacy of horror, devastating and human suffering that continues to reverberate through the lives of millions. This seismic event was characterized by the widespread violence, mass displacement and communal strife, all of which was driven by deeply ingrained religious, cultural and political tensions. The roots of these partitions can be traced back to the colonial era and complex interplay of various factors that culminated in the separation of two nations along religious lines. Now we try to understand point-wise historical background. First of all, historical background. Division of India and Pakistan marked the end of British colonial rule and culmination of decades-long struggles for independence. As the British Empire weakened after World War II, demands for a self-rule grew louder. However, the heterogeneous nature of India with its diverse religious and cultural communities poses a significant challenge to finding a unfilled solutions. Religious division. What is religious division? One of the most devastating truths of partition was the violence and communal hatred, and it unleashed. The partition was essentially based on the religious lines, with India being predominantly Hindus and Pakistan being created as the homeland for Muslims. The communal tensions that had simmered for years erupted into a frenzy of violence as individuals turned against their neighbors and communities were torn apart. Humanitarian crisis. What is humanitarian crisis? The partition led to the massive humanitarian crisis with an estimated 15 million people, that is 15 million people being displaced and over a million losing their lives in the ensuing violence. Families were uprooted from their ancestral homes and forced to embark to treacherous journey to find safety and refuge. The tales of horror that emerged from these journeys were heart-wrenching, filled with the stories of rape, abductions, and senseless brutality. Legacy of trauma. Devastating truth of partition lies in its lasting impact on generations, that the scars of event and age deep into the collective memory of both nations. Families were torn apart, friendships were severed, and communities were shattered. The trauma of those who experienced the partition first had been passed down through the generations, contributing to ongoing tensions between India and Pakistan. And another geopolitical ramifications. The partition also had far-reaching geopolitical consequences. The dispute region of the Kashmir emerged as a major point of contentions, leading to the multiple wars and ongoing conflict between India and Pakistan. The division of resources, infrastructure, and institutions further complicated the relationship between the two nations. The failed leadership. Horror of the partition is also rooted in the failure of leadership on both sides anticipate and mitigate the consequences of division. Political leaders struggled to maintain control over the situation. The hasty nature of the partition led to the lack of proper planning for the well-being of those affected. The cultural losses. What is cultural losses? Cultural losses, the partition resulted in loss of shared cultural heritage. Communities that had coexisted for the centuries suddenly found themselves on the different sides of border, leading to the erasure of cultural exchange and disappearances of shared traditions. This loss of cultural diversity is a poignant reminder of tragic consequences of dividing nations along religious lines. The partition of India and Pakistan in 1947 was a pivotal event in history, leading to the creation of two separate nations and causing widespread displacement and communal violence. Many books have been written on the subject, offering various perspectives on the partition, its causes and its consequences. Here is book list that provides a range of viewpoints on the division of India and Pakistan. Next, the first book, Freedom of Midnight by Larry Collins and Dominic Lapierre. This well-researched book provides a detailed account of events leading up to partitions, the political negotiations, and eventual creation of India and Pakistan. Trains to Pakistan by the Khushwant Singh, a powerful novel set during the partition. It captures the human stories of the communal violence that erupted and impact on the ordinary people's lives. The most important book. And third, The Great Partition, The Making of India and Pakistan by Yasmin Khan. It is written by Yasmin Khan. This book offers a comprehensive analysis of partitions, causes, effects, and aftermath. It delves into the political, social, and human dimensions of the division. And fourth book, Midnight's Furies, The Deadly Legacy of India's Partitions by Nizid Hazari, focusing on the violence and its long-lasting impact. This book explored the tragic consequences of partition through the lens of personal stories. And fifth book, Partition, The Long Shadows by the Waziraz Fazila, Yukhwali Jamindar. This book delves into the complexity of memory, silence, and trauma related to the partition, examine how the event continued to shape contemporary South Asian society. And sixth book, The Other Side of Silence. Other Side of Silence. Voices from the Partition of India by Urvashi Butelia. This book presents oral stories and personal narrative from the survivors of partition, providing a poignant and intimate perspective on the events. Number 7 book of Shadows of Great Game, The Untold Story of India's Partition by the Narendra Singh Salila, not Narendra Modi, Narendra Singh Salila, focusing on the role of British government intelligence agencies in the partition. This book sheds light on the geopolitical factors at play. Partitions of Memory, the afterlife of the division of India, edited by Suvir Kaul. This is edited by Suvir Kaul edition. The collection of essay that examines how the partitions is remembered and represented and narrated in the literature, cinema and art. The 9th book, Emergency, the personal history by Kami Kapoor. While not directly about the partition, this book offers insights into the turbulent years of following India's independence, including the challenges faced by the minorities in the political landscape. The long partitions and the making of modern South Asia refuses boundaries histories by the Wazira Fazila Yukumowali Zamindar. This book critically analyzed by the long-term effects of partition on the social and political structure of India and Pakistan. These book provide diverse perspective on the complex and multifaceted history of partition of India and Pakistan, offering readers the opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of this significant historical event and its lasting impact. Lessons learned. What is lessons learned for us? The partition of India and Pakistan serves as a stark reminder of a dangerous of allowing religious, ethnic and cultural divisions to fester unchecked. It underscores the need for open dialogue, understanding and effort to bridge differences in order to prevent the repetition of such horrors. At the end of these episodes, we can understand as a conclusion the horror and devastating truth. That means dark truth of division is the title of this video. Of India and Pakistan in 1947 is the story of human suffering. On the immense scale, this violence, displacement and trauma inflicted upon the millions of people lived an indelible mark on history. And legacy of this event continued to shape the dynamics of the regions and reminding us of the importance of tolerance and dialogue and cooperations in a world where divisions can have catastrophic consequences. So that's all about division of India, dark side of related to division, India and Pakistan, truth story. Thanks for listening me, and please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon for next upcoming videos. Thanks to all of you.